Hey, we are on the job, Local 103's podcast, and we're here with John McLaughlin from Sullivan Mac. Johnny, welcome.
Thank you very much, Lou. Appreciate being here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. This is kind of our new endeavor into how to communicate with people and bring people into what Local 103 and our members and our contractors are up to. So you're on the hot seat today, buddy.
We'll see how it goes. I have full editability, right?
Yeah, really, right? Whatever it takes, whatever it takes. I've got a lot of editing to make me look good behind the camera, so Sean does a good job, so it's all good. But Johnny, Sully Mac is killing it these days.
We've been, I'm 30 plus years in the company, and I'd say the last 10, we've just hit our groove. Your company mature, you sort of understand the business climate, you understand the market, you understand your abilities as a company, and I think our people have all matured. So we've really, in the last decade in particular, I feel like we've been doing great, doing really good work for great clients, and got some fantastic employees. So
yeah,
very fortunate.
So I got into Local 103 in the early 90s, 1990 actually. And for the first 5 or 10 years, I had never even heard of Sully Mac.
Yeah.
I had worked for, I'll leave them nameless, but I worked out in Deer Island. I worked in the Big Dig for one of the big three, they used to call them back in the day, right?
Yeah.
One of them is out of business. The other one is completely out of Boston. And the third one you own now, being Fishback, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, it never really, Sully Mac wasn't on the radar like some of those other contractors on some of the big public jobs. When did, Sully Mac really kind of show up on the scene?
Yeah.
It's
interesting you said it because it wasn't a plan. So sometimes people would often ask us, how big do you want to be, or what's your business plan? We didn't have one to begin with. We had energy, we had drive, we were ambitious, but we didn't necessarily have a plan laid out. What did work for us, and we would say to employees, and it still exists today, we'll be as big as we are good. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we may want to go take on a new market or geographically, grow into a new area. But it's really for us, and it's what works for us. It's the magic secret sauce is finding the right people to help us grow into that area, or the right clients, the local unions, partnering with them. So when we can be good at it and we feel confident about that, we'll go push in. And that's kind of been the plan. And it works because the clients that hire you want to hire you back when you do your job well. You need to be price competitive, and then once you get that opportunity to get on site, you need to drive value, and you do that through service. And when you can do all of that, be competitive and deliver a really good product and an incredible service, your chances of coming back are exponentially better. So I think for us, once we had that sort of mantra, and that was taught to us by the people that were in the company before us, and then we just scaled it. But one other strategic thing, and if I'm talking too much, let me know. One other strategic component for Sully Mac in the early days is my father, who didn't know a fiber optic cable from a telephone cable or data cable. He took a risk and started up a separate Tel Data company. And Tel Data was relatively new to 103. When I came to work in 1991, my brother came on the same day. He went to work on Tel Data. I went to work on the electrical side. But it was that Tel Data group, and they were growing leap and bounds because clients needed that service, needed that work. They sort of helped the electrical group grow quite a bit. There were years when the telecom group was our number one client electrically. So I do think the initial growth for us as a company really came through the Tel Data component of it. And then later electrically, we started to do data centers. We started to do more sophisticated electrical projects. And I think we started to get on the radar for people at that point.
Yeah, the Tel Data, that's funny. The Tel Data kind of opened the door for you guys and hired the electrical.
And 100%, and exactly the opposite of what we thought was going to happen. We thought that the electrical company would have work that they could provide to the communications group. And it started that way a little bit, but very quickly, the communications Tel Data group was working direct for clients. And those clients would say, hey, can you help us with this electrical issue? And that's where our growth came from early days, was working direct for our Tel Data clients electrically.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Best laid plans. We had no idea it was going to happen, but it happened.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Definitely, you guys have grown into the biggest in Boston, and perhaps even definitely one of the best electrical contractors that we have. But obviously, you guys are a second generation company.
Yeah.
You had some humble beginnings.
Yeah.
When did Sully Mac start up? When did your dad when did she start
Yeah.
Sully Mac? And
Yeah.
talk a
No,
little bit
thank
about
you.
that.
I always, I think family businesses love to talk about their origins.
Yeah.
And for him, he was a guy that got his license, got a job at the MBTA working nights. Used to pop up in the morning after his night shift and go to work down the street. I'm going to forget the name of the company, but it was an electrical company. And the outside general foreman for them was this guy named Bill Sullivan. And my father and Bill had met in high school, knew each other. My father sort of pushed Billy for years to quit and for the two of them to go into business. Eventually, Billy was ready, so they did. They worked here in Dorchester and, for family and friends, add a receptacle on a two-family or a doorbell. And we actually have some of the paperwork or the notes they made in their on their handbooks that they carried with them. Just, remember, Bill so-and-so, $5. They eventually realized that type of work wasn't going to allow them to be, raise families and sustain themselves. So they really jumped into, I think early on, City Boston Schools, Boston Housing Authority, and started to grow the business that way. Billy retired and left the business, I think, mid-1980s. So when I came and my brother Huey came, my father was the sole proprietor at that point. Probably 6 or 7 employees out in the field and 1 or 2 in the office. But, some of the greatest people you could ever meet. Incredibly loyal, incredibly hardworking. So I think for us, meeting them that sort of cemented to us what we needed to do, what we needed to look like, effort-wise and ability-wise. So it's great.
Yeah. My first dealing, my first time I met you, first time I met Huey, first time I really had a interaction with Sully Mac was up in Tewksbury,
Yeah.
right? Accusphere.
Accusphere,
It was a
great memory.
pharmaceutical type of company that was starting to do a little bit of takeoff. And I was a new business agent, 1 or 2 years on the job, so I was a young guy. And I walked the job with you guys, and I saw what Sully Mac was all about. And I have to back up a little bit to tell a story. Working for one of the big 3 out in Deer Island. I remember being on the job, and the foreman were running around. The owner is coming out to the job today. Be busy. Be working. Look busy. Blah blah blah. Don't talk to him. Just keep your head down. And the owner would come out to the job. He walked the job. Didn't look at anybody. Didn't talk to anybody. Everybody was like, head down. Here he comes. Oh, there he goes. He's gone. And it was kind of like, you know what? Screw him. Like, you don't even say hello to me. You didn't say nothing to me.
Yeah.
Now he's gone.
Yeah.
So fast forward, 2004, 2005. I'm handling the Merrimack Valley. I'm up in Tewksbury. Walking there. I meet you and Huey. We walked the job, and you guys stopped and talked to every single guy on that job. Hey, Joe, how's your family? How's your sister? You been fishing lately? Just every single guy. And I remember seeing the reaction of the guys on the job after you guys moved on and walked away. Yeah. They were ready to run through walls for you guys. And talk a little bit about that interaction and what you have with your employees, that family atmosphere.
Yeah, I do think it's a family atmosphere, and that can be an overused term. But we came into a business where the people that worked in the field were like family, and in a way that we all can appreciate. They'd yell at me without hesitation. They would criticize me and lay into me if I wasn't doing the right thing, and that's what family does. You hold everybody accountable, and you don't worry about the bureaucracy or someone above you being upset with you. So I think that's just an atmosphere we grew up in. I think it's an atmosphere we embraced when we came to Sully Mac. And, I think we just emulated what my father did, which was to hire good people and don't tell them what to do, but tell them what you want to get done. And then let them go. Give them the trust and the freedom to go make decisions. One of his best general foremen used to say that he would make decisions without fear, because he knew he'd made the best decision he could make at that time. And if it was the wrong one, he goes, your dad always had my back. So I think that those type of lessons just set up. And when you realize how many talented people there are out there, and sometimes companies don't allow them to be themselves, and you tie their hands with bureaucracy or paperwork or whatever it happens to be, or fear. An owner walks onto a big job site and doesn't want to take the time to look you in the eye or say good morning or introduce himself. That's an odd message in my book. Yeah. So, and our family's sort of way of looking at business. So, it wasn't a plan. I think it was just what we do, and continue to do it today. I'm often embarrassed that as the company has grown, I'll know someone's face and I can't pull that name out, or I'll call them the wrong name, whatever I do. But the intent is there.
Yeah.
And I work hard at trying to know everybody.
Oh,
I enjoy that.
my grandmother still doesn't know the difference between me and my brother, so don't feel bad about that, right?
No. But you've been to our Christmas parties. We have these great Christmas parties. We really bring in the whole office, and we bring in all of the foremen. We can't bring all of the field. There's just too many people. But that is a very organic, meaning it's not staged. The energy in that room is unbelievable. People are there because they want to be there. We're delighted to be there. That's a one time a year where we just get together as a company collectively and celebrate. And you can feel it. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, people love working for Sully Mac, and you see it at those. Right?
God, they should. It's brutal. Like, we work so hard, everybody. So if you're going to work that hard, you can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that, and I feel that.
Yeah,
which is good.
Oh, 100%. It's organic. It's real. It's natural, and it goes back to that old. I forget which mob movie it was. It might have been The Bronx Tale, and it's like the kids asking the mob, "Is it better to be loved or feared?" Right? You know what I mean? Right? And that's been the debate ever since. Then. Is it better to be loved or feared? And I worked for a company that operated in fear.
Yeah.
And there was no buy-in. As soon as that guy was gone, screw him. And I see how your folks love you guys, love working for Sully Mac, and I see how it's mutual. And you guys give out sweatshirts and shirts and gear and
whatever we give out. We try to give out a lot of things and celebrate people. It pales in comparison what we do to what the people themselves do. And it's not that we don't have high standards. We have high standards. We're just not going to achieve those goals and those standards through fear and intimidation, because ultimately it doesn't really work.
Right.
I mean, maybe an apprentice, maybe
a
young journeyman.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with a seasoned journeyman, or you're dealing with a seasoned foreman, general foreman, again, don't tell him what to do. Right. Tell him what you want to achieve, and then ask him, how do you get there? Because he's got more experience than you do. And it's one of the things I learned early. I'm not an electrician. I'm not a good estimator. There's a lot of things that I can't do well. So I needed to reach out. I needed to ask for help. I needed to look at the savvy foreman and be like, I don't know what the hell to do. Tell me what we should do, or how you think we should do it, and we'll make a decision if we need to collectively. But I don't know. So that's just worked for us.
I think Steve Jobs said it best. He said, I don't want to hire smart people and tell them what to do. I want to hire smart people and for them to tell me what to do. Right?
I mean, it is that simple, and I think all that gets down to trust.
Yeah.
Right. So, because sometimes people are going to do some things, and you're going to be like, I'm not sure that's the right. Is this what we want? And you have to give them, my opinion, you got to give them some time and communicate. Like, listen, all right, I'm going to trust you on this. Let's see what happens, and let's watch it, measure it, figure it out.
Yeah.
That's been, for me, from a business perspective, that's been the fun part, right? I mean, when you do well and you see the numbers, and if the numbers are good, that's fun, of course. But it's the everyday getting up and trying to get over those hurdles and figure out those challenges collectively with a good group of people. It's we all love sports analogies, but that's how good teams work.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Just every day is a new challenge. It's not. Someone said to me not too long ago, it's not a bump in a road. It's just a bumpy road. And I think that's a pretty good way to look at it.
Right.
And so every day you get up and you say, all right, what do we got to do today to get down the road, or this month, or whatever, this quarter? And that's been good.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you guys have always had you got a great relationship with down here at Local 103.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a great relationship with you, and vice versa. I kind of feel like it's always been that way for Sully Mac. Has it always been that way for Sully Mac here at Local 103?
No, it hasn't. And this is growth. I think when we came in, my brother and I came again, 1991. We were in the union. We probably were organized in the late 70s, I think 1978 or 77. But the guys that were Sully Mac were just Sully Mac guys, and they didn't have a relationship down here first and foremost, but they just didn't want to have a relationship, chose not to have it, and didn't have trust. So as we started to grow the company, it was clear to us that there were people here that were great, young apprentices, journeymen, whoever they happened to be. And so Rich Gambino, I think, had just become the business manager. He did have a relationship. He had worked for my dad and Billy Sullivan back in the day when they were non-union. So he reached across the aisle. He opened up the door. And I remember we went to an IHOP one morning. It was just great. I didn't know what I was there for. Huey didn't know what he was there for. We knew Richie, and he was just great. But he had a conversation with my dad, but most of the meeting, the breakfast meeting, was a conversation with Huey and I about thinking big picture, thinking about the industry, focus on Sully Mac, of course, like that's your career, that's your company, but think bigger picture and get involved, whether it's through NICA or it's down at 103. And we did. And that sort of then started the relationship, right? And Richie was just a great guy. I can remember one day we had the opportunity to buy the first company we ever acquired. It was Norton Electric. And Richie came in to speak to the Norton employees who were coming over. And he just did such a great job. Like, he's such a professional. He's such a good communicator. And he was speaking, obviously, on our behalf to say, these are good people. And that was amazing to us. Like, he dispelled all of the fear because there was such trust and respect that they had with Richie. And that then migrated to Mike Monahan, and we built relationships built in trust and respect. And the company grew because of it. And I've said this to our employees, sometimes in writing, sometimes just verbally, but any growth that Sully Mac has had, which has been substantial and continuous, wouldn't be possible without 103's support and their growth and their progressiveness. I think 103 has led the industry in being progressive and forward-thinking, and we've been the beneficiary of that. And the relationship continues with you. So what now feels comfortable and normal wasn't in 1991,
Sure.
but it was Richie just coming across the hallway, putting his hand out, and it's led to all of this.
Yeah, I think labor relations, from I remember, I don't think it was always like it is today. I think it's taken, a couple of generations or a couple of decades to kind of build it up. Trust is the most important part of it, and I think we've demonstrated it with our relationship with Sully Mac and our overall relationship with NICA.
Yeah.
I honestly feel, and I tell my colleagues, especially around the country, that don't have the relationships with NICA that we have here in Boston, and I think it's a great part of all of the success that we're having in the IBEW. Like I say to my colleagues, like, I honestly, we both sides are committed to getting to yes. You ask me for something, let's work it out. It might be a challenging ask, but let's figure it out and get there together. And the same thing, I feel like if I came to you and asked you for something, that you guys would be like, you know what, let me put something aside. Let's sit down and figure out how to get to delivering that.
There's no question about it. And I, you do talk to locals in other NICA offices and contractors around the country, and it is not everybody has this opportunity. We'll make this relationship between contractor and the union. And I want to make a point. I hear this a lot. They're like, well, Boston's been very fortunate. You've had a lot of business up there. And there's no question. The opportunity to go to work, the opportunity to put members out to work, for contractors less to bid projects and win them, that's a big issue. That's key. But you could have a bad relationship and still have all those opportunities and not take advantage of them because of the damaged relationship. I think we've had opportunity that's come to us because this is a great city and lots of different markets within it. But I think Local 103, NICA, the 103 contractors, and I would speak specifically for Sully Mac, I think we've done an excellent job at maximizing what was in front of us because of the relationship and because of the trust between the groups. It's awesome.
Yeah. Maximizing is a great way to put it. Yeah, we really have. Yeah. Both sides. I really feel it.
One thing we say at Sully Mac, and we've said it forever, we don't make markets, right? We can't dictate what's going to happen to a market. We need to be able to be prepared to react to it. And if a client needs us to travel, we're going to travel. If a client needs us to do, office space, we'll do office space. But it's that ability to be ready for it. And I think 103 did a great job at helping the Boston market grow and also being prepared to take advantage of it. Right amount of members, right amount of education, training. It's been great.
Yeah, it's definitely goes both ways for sure. We couldn't do it without you. You guys couldn't do it without us. I feel that way. Now, you mentioned markets. In Boston, the economic engine that is Boston has got so many great markets that are great for the IBEW, great for NICA, great for our contractors, hospitals, healthcare facilities, colleges and universities, the sports and athletic complexes, the research stuff that we've seen over the past couple decades. I think they're all Sully Mac's niche, but what's really Sully Mac's niche? What's your strong suit when you go into a job? You're like, that's us all day long.
So what drives us? There's different markets that we're largely cemented in, or we may have a large share of it. Healthcare is one of those markets. For the last 15 plus maybe 20 years, healthcare has been a strong market for us, and that we can push into as life science grows or research. We can go right into those markets as well. I also think that the academic institution market in Boston is incredible, and we've been a player in that for sure. And we will cycle up and down with office space and residential as need be. One thing I think about Sully Mac that we've done very well in, and we've been purposeful about it, but we're not just chasing $10, $20 million jobs or large projects. We are working just as hard and securing more opportunities on projects below $5 million. The quantity of $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 jobs we pull in a week is incredible. And I say that because that's in some ways the client saying, hey, would you do me a favor? Would you price this? And we'll price it, and then we'll take off and go. And we'll get that work done very successfully, so we'll get the next opportunity. That's hard to do. That's not juggling one or two major projects. That's juggling 20, 30,000 projects in a year for good clients. And that service is what allows you, on the big job, maybe to be their favorite EC if they can get you at the low price. So anyways, I think service work and small projects, some people will be surprised at how much we do.
Yeah, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
I know when, so 2017, I was running for business manager. I had been a business agent for a long time, 10 or 12 years, worked for Mike for 12 years, and then was transitioning to going to run for business manager. I found some reasons why I feel like we needed some change.
Yeah.
And we had some conversations, and one of those targets or conversations that we had was talking about Logan Airport and how much it had been such a, a thorn in the side of Local 103, and certainly for the contractors that try to make a buck out there.
Yeah.
And, if we can back up a little bit, talk about how Local 103 and the partnership that we've had has allowed you guys to actually go out there and demolish and, take back over Logan Airport.
I'm glad you asked it because a quick, fun side story. But one of the ways that Sully Mac got introduced out there, we originally went out there on the technology, doing a lot of underground fiber optic poles. So we had a relationship on the tel data side. We got asked one time, I got asked to go out there and jump onto a problem they had. And so I grabbed one of our foremen. I won't use his name because he'll kill me. But we went out there, took care of it. It's probably a $5,000, $10,000 issue they needed to resolve. And the foreman called me up. It was 103 foreman. He says, hey, Johnny, he's been with us forever. He says, hey, a ton of people I know out here. I said, yeah, guys I went to high school with, guys I've worked with. He goes, just when I was here for this week, I just couldn't believe how many people I ran into. He goes, in fact, they gave me some additional work so I can stay out for a couple more weeks. So those few more weeks turned into months. Tom built his relationship out there, and we started to build a relationship with Massport. And then when you became business manager, you and I sat and talked, and we talked about how much work was being lost out there. I had the confidence.
You guys saw it.
We saw it firsthand, yeah. And the job we initially went out there to fix was a non-union contractor that was just not getting along with the GC, and they needed us to go take care of it, and we did it. So, but I had the confidence that we were out there on the tel data side. We now were out there on the electrical side and had made relationships. And you were like, we need to fix this. How do we do it? And we put our heads together and resources together, and we started bidding everything that was out there. And you've been supportive of anything we need to get there. And we've dominated at Massport since then. So it's kind of 103 on two levels. It's that 103 foreman who's like intuitive enough to say, hey, I think I can hang out here for a while. Like, we'll find some opportunities. He's telling me that. I didn't have the wherewithal to see it.
Sure.
And then, it's probably a year later to be in your office, and we identify together that that's a market we should be winning work in, and that there's real value in building relationships at Massport, and we've done it.
Yeah. It's definitely not an easy place to work. It's not like going into a building downtown. I mean, there's security clearances and, with the FAA and with...
It is a incredibly complex place to work. And it should be, right?
Oh, sure.
From a security standpoint, and there's badging, there's air side, non-air side, and you're dealing with the general public. And, everyone who's in that airport's stressed out. Well, the ones that are arriving there trying to fly are stressed out, and the ones that are coming off the planes are probably happy to be through it. But it's a complex place out there, and that's where you need great people, and we had them. And then your support and our willingness to commit resources to it, it's really become a exciting spot.
In the main hall here, we got a bunch of pictures from the last century of work, big pictures hanging on the wall. One of those pictures was like the first big infrastructure job that we won after it was 2018. I think it was Terminal B.
Yeah.
And it's a picture of me and you and 100 Sully Mac guys in the job as the job was kind of finishing up. And that hopefully that picture is like a symbolic picture of Local 103, and it's in that hall for another 100 years on, when it really started to take off, when we turned it around out there.
That was the first major file sub bid project that we won out there.
Yeah.
And that was a freight train. It had to be done so quickly. And we had, to your point, we had 100+ people out there. We had a young, talented general foreman out there and a very seasoned project manager, and they were a great team together. And I'll tell you, someone framed that picture and gave it to me in the office. So it hangs on our wall as well.
Yeah, it's very proud.
I think the guys enjoyed it. I think we enjoyed it. I think you enjoyed it. It was, and again, gives you confidence that you can do it again and again and again. And we have. I couldn't tell you how many projects we've won out there since that one, but it's north of 30.
Sure.
Large and small.
Yeah, I mean, we've been keeping track, and I think we've won back, 96% of all the electrical work bid out there in a relatively short amount of time.
Unbelievable. And we had a recent loss out there to a non-union. It's the first one we've probably had in 6 or 7 years, and I'm not sure who felt worse, you or me.
Yeah.
But we both felt pretty lousy.
Yeah, we got together right after that. We talked about it, and then we bounced right back. And the next one we picked back up where we left off. And
but that's the teamwork. And I said this a minute ago, and I'm going to repeat myself. But like any success Sully Mac has, or any electrical contractor union can have, it's about the partnership with the union.
Sure.
It just is. Like if you can't partner up, it's just one more obstacle.
Right.
And when you do, it really does. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And obviously, a lot of opportunities coming down the pike out at Logan Airport, which is great. Some big infrastructure at the MBTA.
Yep.
But overall development in Boston seems to be down right now. How do you see it, especially on your bid sheet looking out the next 18 months, 2 years?
Yeah, we feel like 18+ months ago when they increased the interest rate, we felt that first stab of, okay, all these development projects, a lot of them at that point went on pause, and they're now, on hold or shelved. And that was hard, and that continues to be a problem. Fortunately, we've had some backlog, and fortunately, you said it a minute ago, we've got a pretty diverse market share, so we do see Logan Airport is some great opportunities out there, and we'll pursue them. The MBTA has some wonderful opportunities. Sully Mac does a lot of fiber optic work out there. Our Fishback and Moore group does a ton of work out there, so I think that's going to be great for them. But again, we look and we don't make the market, so you just need to be prepared to react to them. And I think for us, when we talk about how many small projects we do for clients we've had for 2 months or 20 years, that may be the work that sustains us, and that's being quick and reactionary and getting what those clients what they need when they need it. If I look at the electrical industry as a whole, and I look at it in New England, our industry is an excellent industry to be in. It's technology forward, it's constantly changing, and there are still markets that are evolving right in front of us. So we may not see them today. The office towers may be slowing down. Sure. Maybe the residential towers haven't picked up the way we thought they would. But there are other things happening, and I think we're in a great city, and I think we're in a great industry. So just going to keep my eyes open and try and figure out what comes next.
Sure. Yeah, pre-COVID, 2019, 2020, I mean, the city of Boston was littered with cranes. Right?
Crazy.
And now it's like, oh, geez, it's hard to find a crane in Boston these
days. It's very hard to find a crane. My brother-in-law was just in Mallorca, Spain. It's an island off of Spain. He said there's more tower cranes in Mallorca than there is in Boston at the moment. Yeah. And listen, that's not what any of us want to hear, but I will say every downturn I've ever experienced as a business, economic downturn, or maybe it's just a challenge inside your business that's extremely difficult, makes you better. You've just got to figure it out.
Sure.
And that sounds like some textbook, business school book I just quoted, but it really is. You've got to be stressed. When all those tower cranes were up, that's great to see. But it's a different set of challenges. Sure. And I think when the tower cranes slow down, you just got to figure it out and get better. Sure. What was a quote we heard the other day? Change. If you take change by the hand, or it'll take you by the neck. Yeah. And I think that's what happens. You will never be on the same road. It's not a bump. It's not a bump in the road. It's a bumpy road. Right. And I think that's the exciting challenge, is to go figure out what's next and how do we get there before everybody else. And go back to how progressive and aggressive 103 has been. My older brother used to bring it up because he he was more involved than I was at the time with the union. And he's like, God, they're so progressive and aggressive. Like, we're the ones, the contractors are the ones that are supposed to be more progressive or aggressive. I got to give hats off to 103. The leadership here has been excellent, and the results are the type of relationship we're talking about today.
Yeah, our membership has grown. Your company has grown. It's been great.
Yeah.
We're involved right now in a project out in New Mexico. It's called Navajo Nation, and it's the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. It's the Electrical Workers Without Borders North America, and it was started by previous international president Ed Hill.
Oh.
And where that idea came up from, right? They've done a lot of travel around the world. It came up from what Local 103 did with Sully Mack down in Haiti. And we were reminiscent about we got recognized, got an award for going out. We sent volunteers. We have volunteers today out there in New Mexico doing that Navajo Nation. They have no power. We're bringing power to little huts and houses for the Navajo Indians reservation out there, and it just brought me back to the Haiti project, the Mirabelais Hospital that Sully Mack did. And I was fortunate enough to go down to Haiti.
Yeah, that's right.
With Huey. I went down with Huey and worked down there for a week. And to this day, still, it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my career is to go down there and help that nation rebuild after that hurricane. You know, I took back more than I actually brought, you know.
And, you're not alone in that. That's what we heard continuously. And I think there were 300 103 people that volunteered their time to go down there. Sully Mack had a couple of employees that they paid for us to send down there and sort of stay and lead the effort. But I think there was over 300, yourself included.
Yeah.
That's just a testimony to people. And they all came back with that same, it's funny, I don't know if it's a funny story or not, but my brother Huey was down there routinely. And that was his brainchild. That was his connection with Jim and Sarah, who he barely knew. Huey's got a big heart, and he wanted to do something, and we clearly had the expertise.
Sure.
We just had to figure out how to do it in Haiti. But he would go down, and some leaders in the company, like the Richmond brothers, they would go down, and they would come back, and they would be so full of energy and just gratitude for what they were able to help do. And they'd be like, you got to get down there. You got to get down there. And I said, yeah. And I had wife and young kids at the time, as did a lot of people. And then they'd leave, and Larry Richmond would come back down to my office, and he'd close the door. He's like, you can't go down there. I go, why can't I go down there? What's the matter with me? And he's like, it's too dangerous. He's like, we need you to stay here. We need you to run the business. He goes, do not go. And I wasn't knocking on the door to go, but I just thought that was a funny.
You can't even go down there now.
I know.
It's so even way worse, more dangerous. You know, they're kidnapping priests and missionaries now, taking them hostage. It's awful.
Well, it's funny. It's how we initially got and knew about some of the situations in Haiti. There's a Catholic priest here in Boston called John Ooney, and he's become a very beloved figure in Boston. And he early on would ask us to donate a little bit of money. They had an orphanage down there, and Huey had gone down and Chuck Richmond actually. It was post the earthquake. The orphanage, which is up in the hills, had no power. And they went up there, and Chuck Richmond, through his just incredible experience and cleverness, fixed the generator that nobody could fix. And the next thing, they had electricity. And I'm like, that was the sort of beginnings of our connection to Haiti. It was through the Catholic Church here in Boston and through Father Ooney and that orphanage. And then when Jim and Sarah came to us from Shawmut, he had this plan to go down there and build this hospital that they clearly needed. And we jumped at it. And for the people listening to this, that hospital wasn't planned initially, but by the time it was built, 103 members had built a solar rooftop array, and that was the only, and may still be, the only hospital in the world, or at least the Caribbean, that could run 100% off the solar roof we had built in the capacity, which was great because power in Haiti was pretty intermittent.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Dr. Paul Farmer.
Yeah.
Jim and Sarah.
Yeah.
Certainly the team at Sully Mack really made a difference down there. And I'm just honored to be a little tiny part of it, you know. And I was having a funny story. I was talking to Fletcher Fuentes the other day. We were talking about Haiti and just reminiscing about that project. And he was a big part of it down there.
Well, Fletcher was one of the guys who went down and lived down there.
Yeah, he was down there the whole time. A kid that I traveled down with the time I went down, with Huey, obviously. This kid, Bobby, longtime member, longtime friend of mine.
Yeah.
We're down there, and he's, they got a bunch of rooms. They got the Sully Mac house they had, and he's in a room, and we're all outside in the driveway. We're drinking El Presidente beer, whatever it is. We're all just, shooting the shit. And all of a sudden we hear screaming inside the house. Bobby screaming in the house. Go in his room. He's got a little barrel, and he's got a broom. And there's a tarantula in his luggage.
Jesus.
No doubt, a tarantula in his luggage. Someone comes in, grabs the barrel, grabs the broom, sweeps the tarantula into the barrel, takes it outside, throws it over the fence.
It's so funny. There's so many stories like that, but I haven't even heard that one. No. And Fletcher was such a great guy. We also had Joe Altig, who was one of our foremen on the Tel Data side. Joe is like the mayor of Port-au-Prince. Like everybody, and Joe loved everybody. It was so fun to watch. And Joe's not with us anymore. He's passed
rest
away.
in peace.
But just so many great people that went down there.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
And I think back on that all the time, like how rewarding it was, and now we can't even go there.
Yeah.
So we've kind of taken up that next step, and we're volunteering out in the Navajo Nation to try to give back. Because it's.
Yeah, Sully Mac gets a lot of. We got that going, but again, it's the partnership between us as a contractor jumping in.
Yeah.
And then our employees, your members, being like, "I'll go.
Yeah.
I'll go." That was not a plan, and then all of a sudden it just took off. And then there was, as I said, hundreds of 103 members.
Yeah.
And I remember the Carpenters Union jumped in. There was it just is. Boston's a great city with a lot of great people.
Yeah.
And to know that you're still doing it, but you're doing it here in the United States now, pretty cool.
Yeah, and obviously the city of Boston, president of the city council is a Haitian. She's a Haitian immigrant.
Didn't know that.
Her family's from Haiti. Ruth Z. Louisiane. She's great. But whenever I see her, I talk about Haiti with her, and the Haitian people, the people that we worked with there, just such hard-working, dedicated people.
Good human beings.
You know what I mean? Just good human beings.
Good human beings.
Absolutely. And
we have. So Ruth, I don't know, but
Yeah.
When she was first elected city councilor, Kristen Gowan from NECA
Yep.
made a point of all the newly elected city councilors. We got on a Skype call, and Ruth, I now remember the name. She was just dynamite.
yeah, she's awesome.
And we have one of my closest foremen at Sully Mac, Lou Benz Rafino, came over here at 17 or 18 from Haiti. And I think Lou came in through organization, came over to us, and he's just been one of the great Sully Mac, leaders. And Lou's running a $30 million project right now.
Yeah.
So, his development as an electrician in a short period of time has been unbelievable.
Yeah, the Haitian people, they're such hard workers. And I say it all the time. Like my grandmother, God rest her soul, the most wonderful woman ever, right? The end of her life, like she had a couple of Haitian women that would come over and help take care of her and clean her house and cook her food and help her that what we couldn't do as family. And I'll always be forever grateful for that and for what I got from the Haitian people more than what I gave to them. Yeah.
Well,
really awesome.
listen, a little bit of maybe a far field, but that's the immigrant story, and I only know it through Boston, right? Because my grandparents were immigrants. My mother, my grandmother did healthcare and would go to people's homes. When I say healthcare, she would go to people's homes and take care of elderly. And you have to have a heart for that, and that's a call for service. And my grandmother did it lovingly. Yeah. And I think that's the Haitian community certainly picked that up as well.
Yeah. Your family obviously immigrated from Ireland. My family immigrated from Italy. Yep. And I say it a lot. Like my family, my kids are fourth generation members of Local 103. But they're only third generation Americans. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they come
it's pretty amazing.
My grandfather came over this country, and
that's great. And got into 103.
Yeah.
The immigrant story, we obviously we come from it, but you love it.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
fascinating.
Absolutely.
And to see Boston change and its demographics, the immigration is less from Ireland and Italy these days, which is fine. Different parts of the world, but it's the similar story.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. It's good. It's great stuff.
We
all have that story in our families. All
we
of us.
do. Just because I grew up in Milton, but my family came out of Dorchester. I still go up and down Dorchester. I did it this morning. We had a 7:00 meeting with you.
Yeah.
And I just drove down Dot Ave because it's great.
Right.
It's one of the great streets in Boston because it is where most immigrants or many immigrants land.
Absolutely.
And settle and start to look for work, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, the same story that was 120 years ago is the same story today. It really
it's just repeating.
Yeah.
So.
It's great though.
Yeah.
But what do you see? What's the next 5 years long term? What's it look like for Sully Mac?
Yeah. So our goal is, and we talk about this openly in the company and certainly with the leadership folks in there. But our goal is to transition to the next generation. Mm-hmm. And you can read a million articles and he'll tell you that it's always a difficult thing to do. To go from the first to second generation is a high failure rate. To go from the second to the third generation is a high failure rate. I'm not doubting that, but you don't not do something because it's difficult.
Right.
So we're doing it because it's something we care about. So we're starting to look at that next generation. We're starting to get them, if they're graduating from school, they go get a few years experience at maybe a similar industry, maybe for another electrical or maybe for a general contractor or a developer or whatever they end up doing. But go get some experience outside the company. And then if they want to come into the company, come in. And then you've got to, like anyone, they've got to learn the ropes. They've got to start in, we always start folks in estimating. We start to move them up. So that's kind of the overall plan or the long-term plan. And, I think the oldest child is just about 28, 29. My guys are 22, 20, and 18. But in the meantime, we've built a management team in the company that will help us sustain, and when I say sustain, will help us lead the company for the next 20 years. If I'm in the position of president 20 years from today, we've done something wrong.
Right.
So our goal is to get the right people in place now, and we've done a good job, I think, at that, and give them the time to build the experience so that they can be the next vice president or president or whatever happens to be, so that they'll lead the company until our generation have earned their stripes and have decided that this is what they want. You can't. It takes time to figure out, do you A, have the ability, and B, do you want to be here? So we're excited about it. It's the right option for us. There's a lot of private equity folks out there knocking on the door. There's Boston's seen a lot of family businesses be acquired.
Sure.
Probably back to my earlier comments, it's a great industry. And when Wall Street starts noticing it,
Yeah,
it's
that's right.
probably a good sign that it's a
That's
good
right,
industry. And nothing wrong with anyone that wants to sell to private equity or whoever they sell to. It's great. We like being owners, and I think it's been one of the great opportunities of my life to run a business and be a part owner of a business and to lead the business. So we're kind of looking forward to continuing that, but making sure I'm not in the way 10 or 15 years from today.
Yeah, speaking acquisitions, right?
Yeah.
So you guys just acquired longtime local 103 company, Penny Electric.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it was, much of what's gone on in my career and my life is not by plan, but Penny Electric was not for sale, not to anyone's knowledge. Was really pleased when Alan Scharf, who was one of the owners, reached out, and they had made a decision to sell. And they were going to talk to us, and they wanted to talk to one other person. They were sort of hand-selecting or trying to hand-select who they would go to because they care about their business, their legacy of that company is unbelievable.
Sure.
Their employees, they were worried about them, meaning they wanted to make sure they went to the right type of new owners. So we sat down, had some great conversations with them, and understood we knew their business pretty well, but understood what they wanted. Like, do you want to stay on? Are you ready to retire? What's the plan? And we talked to some of their key clients, and it came together pretty quickly, and probably over 6 months, but it came together smoothly, with a better term, because we're like-minded people, and we understood what they wanted for their employees, and we could deliver it, which is a continued future and opportunity to go to work every day. So that was awesome. They also were part owner of Viscom, who is a specialty security company that uses a lot of technicians and electricians. That was also a great opportunity for us. That security work we do already, but Viscom was probably the most dominant company in that space in our industry. So to be able to have those folks on board, another tremendous opportunity that we think will really strengthen the business. So
Two companies, Penny, Sullivan Mac, two owners, yourself and Alan Schaff. There's two guys I have the utmost respect for in the industry, really, and to see you two come together was really. I thought that was a great. I wouldn't even imagined it, but looking back and like, wow, what a great fit that is.
Yeah.
And the 2 years, the two companies, the way they treat their employees, there's so much respect from the employees in each of those companies for the ownership team and the management team, and I was in awe like that. It happened, and it was like so obvious. It was looked like a great fit.
And I'm glad you brought it up. When you think about, they had great clients, and many of those, if not all those clients, will come over. They had some backlog, which is great, and they had employees, field folks, and office folks. But when you meet them and you see the level of commitment and care they had for Penny and for the Scharf family and for John Penny, that's what matters, right? Because those people care and they want to be on a team. They want to work for a company that they can go apply their abilities and go do what they want to do for work and the way they want to go do it. And that lines up with our philosophy. So yeah, no, I was really blown away. Alan's a pretty storied, he and his family pretty storied in the electrical industry. So to be one of the 2 phone calls he was willing to make, meant the world to me.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. And he and I came, and you were probably one of the first people to find out. We sat down with you, and that was not my decision. That was Alan's right to make that decision. He's like, I think we should go talk to Lou and just share with him what we're about to go do. And that was great. It was a great
We're
meeting.
glad it was a smooth transition and it worked out for both. When I first met Alan, we went out to lunch when I first became the business manager and talked about the industry and what he saw. And I learned a little bit more about his family history in the industry that I didn't really know. Going back to his father and grandfather owned Comstock Electric, and they were a New York City Local 3 company.
Yeah.
They built the Empire State Building.
Empire State Building and a host of other buildings. I think top 5 of the largest, if not top 5, top 7 or 8 of the largest electrical contractors in the United States of America.
Yeah.
And that would have been back in probably the 1950s, 60s, 70s.
Sure.
And I think they may have sold the business in the 80s.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you think about what they did under Comstock, and then they on purpose came up to Boston and wanted to engage, became part owners of John Penny.
Yeah.
And ran this really phenomenally successful. It wasn't the scale of Comstock by choice, but it was one of those companies that had clients that never left them.
Right.
And then employees that were very, very, very committed.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, really quality company.
Yeah, you guys must feel great about stepping in with a company like that values, with their storied history, to value your company and the way you run it, to want to partner with you guys.
It felt very good, and that was the initial feeling. And the other piece that follows behind it is, okay, let's go to work. Let's make sure we have the backlog. Let's make sure we have the bid opportunities to keep everybody going, and we have, and we will.
That's great.
So yeah, now that's the commitment component that comes to it as an owner. Is like, all right, you're here. Let's go to work. Let's go figure it out.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, John, this is awesome. I'm really glad you were able to come and hang out with me for a little
I'll
bit.
be back Monday.
Yeah. Awesome.
Do it
Awesome.
again.
Yeah, this is great, John. I really appreciate you coming, sitting on the job with us, the new podcast, talking about Sully Mac, talking about some of the challenges and some of you guys' successes. It's another company with a great storied history here at Local 103. And I think a lot of your employees will appreciate watching this.
I hope so. I mean, that's the fun part.
Yeah.
I'm sure my kids and my wife will criticize me.
Yeah.
But no, listen, you and I know a lot of this history, so to be able to sit and talk about it is always fun. To know that we're going to go share it, that's great. Like
awesome.
that's the best part of this. So thanks for inviting me in.
Yeah, we'll do this again. We'll have to bring Rudy or Brian Barton back and have some fun.
Jesus.
We'll bring a 6-pack of a 12-pack.
We'll need a bigger room for those two.
We might. Yeah.
But that sounds good.
Yeah, good stuff, Johnny. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Lou.
Yeah, cool.
Appreciate it.